Look who's here. It's Robert Herjavec, CEO of Herjavec Group, and of course you know him from ABC Shark Tank. Robert, great to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk about cybersecurity. This is your core business. What kind of threats should consumers be watching in 2018?
Yeah, so we're seeing, obviously the growth of cybersecurity continues to go up and up. The Olympic website was hacked last week. The general feeling is that it was a supplier to the Olympics that had a security flaw. So consumers are seeing more and more data breaches coming out. The Equifax breach was bigger than we originally thought. But the real impetus is less on the consumer and more on the enterprise consumers. Consumers today expect that companies are going to keep their data secure. And if they don't, they're going to get hurt. So the biggest driver in security is actually not the hacks or the breaches, it's regulation and compliance. 50% of security spend today is being driven by compliance, and you're going to see that increase by a lot.
What's driving that dynamic, do you think?
Well, part of it is privacy laws. So for example, in the UK, you have something called GDPR, which is the General Data Privacy Regulation, which means that if you have consumers' data and somebody breaches and steals it, you could pay a penalty of your global sales, up to 6%. That's a lot. So if you're a multi-billion-dollar company and you messed up in privacy, you could have a big penalty.
Companies like banks, brokerage firms, companies dealing with very sensitive consumer financial data, how are they doing on the cybersecurity front?
Well, we're doing much better than we were in the past, but it's a different war today. So think of it this way. Cybersecurity used to be an open field, and people build a house and they put a door and a window. So are we doing a good job with doors and windows? Absolutely. But the problem is hackers have found a new way to get in, and we're constantly trying to keep up.
We're also navigating this world of cryptocurrencies. Of course, Bitcoin has been hyped up. What kind of threats should people be watching for if you own Bitcoin or some of the other cryptos out there?
Yeah, we're very bullish on cryptocurrency. We think it's highly, highly speculative. I'm not an investor in it, but I think it's going to go way up in the short term being the next few months, maybe a year.
Above 19,000 in Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
so it'll take out that high?
It'll take out that high. I'm saying it right now. But what's going to happen is as regulation comes out, and cryptocurrency will be regulated, and as we get closer to regulation, the price will continue to speculate, and then it'll come way down. And on that journey, there'll be very, very highs and very lows. So it's very, very speculative. But on a long-term basis, it's here to stay. The exchanges themselves are not prone to great security. So the exchanges can be hacked and they can be breached. The actual transaction can't be, but the exchanges can. And that's what we saw in Japan. They stole $500 million of cryptocurrency from one of the exchanges.
So if you own Bitcoin, I mean, how do you protect yourself against theft with the cryptos?
Well, so I think Bitcoin is going to go way up. I don't know if you want to own Bitcoin right now. I think you want to get in and you want to get out. Highly, highly speculative.
Well, let's talk about getting out, though, because there is some concern about the exit of Bitcoin, the liquidity. Any thoughts there?
No, I really don't think that's a problem because we're seeing more and more exchanges. And as time goes on, you'll be able to convert some of that Bitcoin into something physical. But right now, it's speculative, and it's a bit of an arbitrage.
Do you think FOMO, or fear of missing out, is sort of playing a role in the hype that we've been seeing with Bitcoin?
Yes, absolutely. But I also think there's an underlying blockchain. I think there's an underlying core technology out of it. The driver for security from Bitcoin is really around identity. As the perimeter is being taken away and I can access the internet from anywhere, there's more and more drivers in order to prove identity. That's why you're seeing the growth of that entire sector. So stocks like SailPoint or CyberArk that are relatively new to the general consumer, been around for a while, they prove that you are who you say you are online.
So you're advising all these companies. What did they ask you specifically about blockchain, right? I mean, how can blockchain be used to counter some of these cyber attacks?
Right. Blockchain is long-term. AI is relatively long-term. Most clients, when they speak to us, they want us to help them secure their environment today and make sure they have a roadmap. So we do a really good job of telling people what the threats are, how to mitigate them, and how to take your current environment and make sure you're secure on a long-term basis.
But blockchain can be used, perhaps long-term, as
For
a
sure.
way to
Yeah.
defend your company.
Blockchain, like AI, has a lot of promise because of the inherent security of that transaction. So you're going to see it in security, you're going to see it in hospitals, consumer type of applications, airlines, anywhere where you need a secure handshake or transaction.
Perhaps the banks as well, right? They're relying on blockchain to protect
For
data.
sure, for sure. I mean, if we look into our crystal ball in 10 years, which seems forever, it'll all be electronic exchanges. I will walk somewhere and a sensor will automatically know it's me. The sensor will be linked to my bank. It'll know how much money I have. I'll pick up something like at the Amazon store. It'll automatically be scanned, and as I leave, it'll automatically be verified and paid for. That's the future.
How far away is something like that?
Well, so that's a very millennial question because you're young. 10 years seems like a lot. I don't want it to happen for a while. But realistically, with the blockchain and all that kind of underlying technology, we're probably 5 years. 5 years from actual adoption where it affects us on a daily basis.
I want to shift and briefly talk about the show, Shark Tank. What should we be expecting in the coming episodes? What's really caught your attention in this current season?
It's funny, we were just talking about that the other day. So we're about to finish season 9, which is incredible, and then we'll start season 10. So 10 seasons, 4 Emmys. It's funny how the trends have changed. You know, when we first started, people came to us because they couldn't get money from a traditional bank. Last year, it was all about crowdsourcing. Now we're seeing a lot of experiential investments. People have, we had a product called Pup Box, which allowed you to get a box once a month for your puppy. We're seeing a lot of products that either cater to nostalgia or some kind of an experience. And we're also seeing social media as a way to sell your product. So we have an investment in a company called SandCloud. Their entire sales strategy is to sell you a product, get you to love it, take a picture on Instagram, and become an ambassador, which sounds really fancy, but really in my world, you're a free salesperson. You're a fanatical customer who loves the product, and you're selling it to other people. That company's doing millions of dollars.
I've also found that the companies on the show have become much more mature, right? Years ago, they would come in asking for, $10, $20, $30,000. Now they're coming in being like, hey, I need $1 million, $2 million.
Right.
What does that say about how powerful the show has become?
The show is a cultural icon now, but we always still have those crazy people with a $5,000 investment because we never want to lose the average person. I mean, the core of the show is it gives everybody a dream, and we show people that anybody can do it. So we'll always have those people that have no money and it's a single idea and they want to make it.
And your best advice for young entrepreneurs out there would be?
Test the market. It's great to have an idea, but execution is really critical. One of the common mistakes is people never talk to a paying customer. Be careful about taking advice from somebody that doesn't have something to lose from their advice.
All right, Robert Herjavec, we'll leave it there.
Thank
Always great
you.
to see you. Thank you.